Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Hawking Hills Garage. Today we're going to jump back in on the cabriolet and try to get this radio finished. Probably try to go a little bit more in depth today. I got some stuff I want to fix that I did last night that I'm not a big fan of. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so some update from last night. Obviously, I got the door speakers in on the driver door. They replaced the tweeter, replaced all the, I wouldn't say all of it. There was some wiring that the original owner had left in there, and it was still through the little rubber piece here. It's already been ran through there. It's already through the firewall and everything. So I went ahead and used that, tied in my new speaker wire with it. Now, one of the things is I don't like my new speaker wire. It's too thick of gauge. I think I gotta go a little bit higher gauge for that. As you see, I did butt connector some things. I also black taped some things. It's a big mess in here. So I'm gonna run down to the local unnamed parts store. I prefer to solder stuff. That's just me. I think it's a better connection. I like to heat shrink it afterwards. So I'm going to run down to the local parts store, get some smaller gauge speaker wire, get some other stuff to help with I got a soldering gun and flux and everything, so I got that, but I still need to get like a little blowtorch for the heat shrink and everything like that. And I will rerun this wire that goes down to the door, heat shrink what I can. I'll probably extend some of these wires just to have some extra. The problem that happens when people cut the factory harness, like this right here, is all the original wiring for the original speakers that I'm having a very big issue tracing. Sorry. So I gave up. I just taped them all off, cut them all off, made sure they weren't touching each other even though they don't have power to them, and just shoved them in the back because I'm not going to be able to use them. I'd rather just go ahead and run new wiring to both doors and the rear speakers. The problem when people cut the factory wiring harness off is it's hard to trace anything. Like the power, the constant power is obviously easy to find. I took a test light, grounded it, I got power to that, and then I turned the key on and off and the power stayed consistent and never cut out, so I knew that was my constant power. The constant power is used for your memory. So it saves your channels, anything like that. When you turn your radio back on, it goes back to where it was before. Now your switched power that turns on when you turn the key on here, it obviously it'll turn on the main unit. Now I was able to tie into another switch 12 volt power source up here. That's what this blue wire is. I'm going to fix that. I don't like the way I did that. I was getting tired. I was just starting to rig stuff up, and it really annoys me that I did this. So I'm going to go back through. I'm going to probably cut that wire, solder it, and then heat shrink it. This is just for the blinkers, I think, so, or it's either for the blinkers or it's for the, I don't know, it plugs into one of those plugs. The blinkers or the back defroster. Either or. I'm comfortable with tying in for a switch power there. That doesn't bother me a bit. Most of the main power for the unit is coming from the consistent. This is just basically a signal wire saying, hey, your key's on, your radio can come on now. So I'm going to fix all this up. This annoys me that I did this. I apologize. But then we will get into pulling that door panel off, rerouting the wires, and then putting on the new speaker and yada yada yada. You'll get the point when we get going. But off to the local auto parts store. Hey guys, just leaving the local unnamed auto parts store. Got my bag of goodies over here, and let's see if I can go home and get my mess up straightened out. Okay guys, we are back. So I went and bought new speaker wire. This is a little bit more appropriate for this application. I gave myself a little bit extra to work with. so I can wire it up and solder, heat shrink. I'm going to get in here now and replace the wiring that I did yesterday. I'm going to solder, I'm going to heat shrink everything, make it look all nice and pretty. It annoys me that I did this. I just couldn't stand it, so we're going to fix this. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so we're going to go over some of the wiring. Most radios sold in the United States, and probably some in Europe, I have no idea, but if you buy a aftermarket stereo, obviously it's going to have a plug on the back similar to that. Let's go over some of what the wiring is on it. Your red wire is going to be your red wire here is going to be your switched power. Your yellow is going to be your constant. That means that your radio always has a 12 volt power to it no matter what, and that's to save your radio station, stuff like that. Also, obviously the black is your ground. Speaker wiring. You'll see this blue wire right here. This is a remote wire. If you run, if your car has a automatic antenna, you would wire this up to it. When your radio turns on, your antenna would go up and down. Or a lot of kids or a lot of people use that as a remote wire to an aftermarket amplifier. That would give the signal for the amplifier to kick on, kick off when the radio is on and off. Speaker wiring, you will see there is 4 colors right here. You have purple, green, gray, and white. Gray and white are usually always your front speakers. If you buy it brand new, usually they come with a wiring diagram with them. I didn't get this one with it, but I've wired up enough stereos to remember most of it. Your white and gray wires right here are always fronts. Your purple and green are always the rears. Now I've already figured out which one's left and right. The white one is the left front, the gray one is the right front. I don't really remember on the purple or the green, so we will find that out when we get ready to do the back speakers. One way to figure that out, if you got a speaker that you know is wired correctly, and you plug in the radio, go into your fade and go into your balancing settings. You can go from left to right to rear to front, and that way you can narrow down which wire is which. So if you go to right rear, one of these wires is going to be active, one of these sets of wires is going to be active, one's not. So that's one way to trace them down. So I soldered all the wires here. I'm not sure if you can see, obviously. I soldered the wires, I heat shrinked all of them. They are all sturdy connected, so it was annoying me that I used butt connectors. I don't mind using them, but I feel it's a very unstable connection. Sometimes they can pull out, they don't get crimped very good when you put them in. I extended the wire for the switch power off the accessory over here. I'm going to go ahead and wire in the front left speaker, get it done and over with, and then we are going to fish the new speaker wire over to the passenger door and get that all mounted. So sometimes spending a little extra time to do stuff right the first time makes it a lot easier. Last night I was getting tired. I just started taping stuff together, trying to figure out where wires. I was getting frustrated. If you start getting frustrated with a project, sometimes the best bet is to walk away. That's what I did last night. I came back the next day and realized a lot of stuff I wish I would have done that I didn't do. So I'm redoing it today. So different speaker wire, soldering connections, heat shrinking stuff. We will see if we can get that passenger door done, so stay tuned. Okay guys, so we're gonna work on our tweeter here. I already got it out of the door. It's got an old tweeter in it. I'm actually going to pull this off, this cover, and to put the other one on here, I got a hot glue gun. I'm gonna get lined up on there. I'm gonna rip the guts off this one. I'm gonna line that up on there. I'm gonna hot glue it on there, and we're gonna let that dry and cool down and get ready to wire it back into the door. And then I got my bottom speaker cover. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there, and then we can get it all put back together. Luckily this time I didn't have to take off the passenger door panel because I was actually able to figure out with the driver's side what to do, so that always makes it a lot easier. So let's get started on that.
Cause you're helping me stay strong. Yeah, never stop. No, I'll never stop. I will never fade out. Yeah, I'll never stop. No, never give up. Cause you're helping me stay strong. Yeah, never stop. No, I'll never stop. I will never fade out. Yeah, I'll never stop. Have you ever felt this heartache? Thought that there would be some magic, but I won't let loose. I'm gonna stay. 'Cause you're helping me stay strong. Yeah, never stop. No, I'll never stop. I will never fade out. Yeah, I'll never stop. No, never give up. 'Cause you're helping me stay strong. Yeah, never stop. No.
Okay guys, so I got the front speakers done. They are working beautifully. I decided to go ahead and take the back speakers out, trace those wires. Luckily I'm able to use most of that factory wiring, which is great, up until a certain point. I took out the passenger side rear, got it separated from the panel. I'll show you the panel here. Take the speaker out of the panel. I'm gonna clean that panel up a little bit before I put it back in there. Got the speaker out, and it is blowed. Obviously, there's not supposed to be a big circle where the cone is around the side, so I gotta make a trip and get another set of rear speakers. I think these are like 4x6s or something. I don't think I'm gonna bring you guys along for the ride on finishing up the rear speakers and finishing that wiring. You've seen me do a lot of it already, so I will bring you guys back in another episode to show you everything afterwards. And I will see you then. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit the like button if you really enjoyed this video. Jump over to my Facebook page and like me at Hocking Hills Garage on Facebook, and I will see you guys later.